So let's get to know Ty Lopez a little bit.
Okay.
So I love what you're doing with your voice. Not just from a personal helping build people, but entrepreneurs, and they both go hand in hand. So that journey for you, who or what was it that helped you through some of your challenges in your journey? Because every journey has a challenge and a struggle.
Yeah. Still have them. Still have challenge. I read a book says every 3 months or so, on average, you'll have some disaster in your life.
Wow.
So you have crisis. Whenever you get over one, then another one's around the corner. So life's about like learning how do you get through this every 3 month BS. So if you ask me how many, I've been through a lot of these crises. I think what gets you through, part of it is just humans want to survive. So most people that don't commit suicide, they want to survive. Thoreau said, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What's called resignation is confirmed desperation. So a lot of people, they want to survive, but they just survive kind of subsistence level. So the things that pushed me past wanting to just be at subsistence level, a lot of it was mentors. I found people in my life, like when I graduated high school, instead of going to college, I met this guy, Joel Salatin's like, you want to live on my farm? In this back, he gave me a little cabin. He said, by the way, one problem with this, I do have electricity for you, but there's no bathroom. So he cut a hole in the floor and put a bucket. He said, that's your bathroom.
Wow.
So I lived like that for about 2 years, but it toughened me up, and he also brought me down to practical realities. Most people fail not because they don't have the big picture. Almost every entrepreneur you meet, they're like, here's my 10-year plan and I'm gonna be big things. But when it comes down to like daily routine, practical stuff, they're not good there.
Yeah.
So it's like you're a general, you have a good war map, but when the battle comes, you don't know how to pull the gun out. You don't know how to load the weapon. Yeah. You're like, what's a bullet? I'm like, you're not gonna do well in a battle if you're trying to figure out what a bullet is. So I think more people need to get common sense. And so when I found these mentors, some of them were farmers, and now all of them are millionaires, but they were just real practical, down to earth, and that pushed me through. There's a cliche, you got to take it one day at a time, but there's a lot of truth to that. You don't even have to take it one day at a time. You have to take it like 1 hour at a time.
Wow.
Because the next hour has some surprise for you. So
you talked a little bit about fighting through the challenges.
Right.
A big part of that is being able to laugh at yourself, right?
Yep.
So give me one anecdote of something in the journey that you look back and you laugh today like, man, that was crazy.
A lot of stuff. People you dated, that's one. You're like, what was wrong with me? What did I find attractive in that person? This is how I think it goes. I think your biggest failures and successes in life go in this order. One is people. So almost everybody's biggest failure, who they married, who they learned from, who they became business partner with, who they hired. That's your big mistake. So what's one like? So I looked at some people I dated, and I'm like, I'll tell you one. When I was in first grade, the first girl I ever loved was this girl, Jennifer. I can't remember her last name. She was this blonde girl. And when I was older, I was like 18, I found an old school yearbook.
Yeah.
And I looked at that girl and I was like, why did I like her? She was ugly. She had a peanut head. I remember. I was like, so that's one. When I was 6, I laughed at my taste in women. Hopefully I got better taste now. In business, I look back, what I look back and laugh at for the most part is staying too long with a bad idea. See, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they tell you grind, hustle, work hard, but if you're grinding with the stupid idea, you're like grinding yourself into the dirt. There's one thing, grinding yourself to success, and there's another thing, sticking with a loser. It's just like that old song goes, you're playing poker, some hands you gotta fold.
Yeah. So that's hard to do though. If
hard
this is
to
your
do.
baby, do you have something for us? How do you let that baby go that you've been working on?
Dude, I love folding now. Now I'm like the fold king. I start a business, start it for a day, test it for a day. That shit doesn't pop. I'm like, boop,
gone.
Yeah, because think about this. Go back to the analogy of dating. If you go out on a date, we're at a nice restaurant here, Mastro's. You meet a girl on Tinder. Are you single?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm not on Tinder.
wherever you meet a girl, wherever you meet a girl. Let's say your friend sets you up with
Right.
Susie. So
Okay.
Susie, you go, let's meet at Mastro's. Sometimes you walk in the door and you're like, oh hell no,
Right.
right? So
You got to get through that day.
yeah, but that date I try to be like, you get there for 5-10 minutes and like, you know what, this is great, and you try to get out.
Call the date in 5 minutes?
This is a true story. But with business, same thing. I try to get in and out of them. My first date of my life, I was 12. A girl set me up with her cousin. I had no car. I didn't grow up with very much money, so I had a quarter for a bus, I remember. And this is in San Diego, and I took a bus all the way to University Town Center. And she said, my cousin will meet you at the ice skate rink. This is probably not politically correct what I'm about to say, but this is true. I gotta tell the truth. This is what I felt like at 12. I'm more.
Truth.
I get there I go all the way, walk a mile, get to this ice skating rink, and it's a big, fat Mexican girl, and I was like, because the cousin was pretty, so I thought it was like a twin.
Yeah.
So I went there, man. I was a little bit ruthless when I was young. I was like, I bought her a hot dog and was like, I gotta go.
I'm out of here. Yeah.
And I was out.
You were 12 years old. You know.
But you know what? When you're young, you're more innocent and honest. I feel like, but I think that's the analogy for business.
Yeah.
You were asking me, like, we fall in love with our ideas. I think people get old in their brain, not their age.
Yeah.
So when you're old in your age, you get attached to something as if you don't have a chance to do something else.
Yeah.
But really you do. There was more dates out there for me.
course.
Get out of there. Buy them a hot dog and be gone. You start a bad business,
Buy
no
the hot
customer.
dog and
Yeah,
be
there's
gone.
no customer. We were talking about a business on the way over here. My brother has a friend pitched a business idea. I won't say what it is, but the idea was, the part of it that I was like, this is a no, is an app that you download and pay $200 a month for something. I'm like, nope, who here pays $200 a month on recurring?
Never.
That's a lot of entrepreneurs. They come to me with literally the world's worst ideas. You ever see American Idol?
Yeah.
You know how when that one guy came and sang like a virgin? I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's just, he's like a virgin. It's just a horrible
Bad.
voice. And Simon goes, you may have the worst. He goes, you have the worst voice in the world. That's how I feel like talking about entrepreneurs. Like, dude, how do I market, my $200 a month app? I'm like, you don't. You kill it.
Yeah.
And then you go on another date with another business. And they say on average, there's a mathematician, it's called the mathematics of sex, I think. You should at least date 12 people to get a sample of what you like before you get married. And I think the same thing for business. You should test 12 business ideas before you settle on one. Like if your friend said, I'd marry the first girl I ever get on a date with, you'd be like, dude, you need to check things out. You need context, my friend.
Exactly.
So a lot of entrepreneurs, it's just like, they're like that desperate guy who never got a date. So the first girl's like, yes, put a ring on it.
Yeah.
Don't put a ring on your business idea until you're sure. There's a lot of paying customers and a lot of ICOs. If you look at them, there's some good ones out there, but there's some bad ones where you're just like, nobody wants it. You can't just put the blockchain on the name and all of a sudden people want it.
Yeah, something. So with that, April 19th,
Yep.
you're going to be speaking at Start Engine Summit.
Yes.
And this is really kind of in line with like what the future of ICOs, what these young companies, what that's going to look like. Tell us a little bit about that evening, what it's going to be about.
So I'm gonna talk, I think on I'll talk a little bit on this today, how to market your ideas. That's what I'm gonna talk about, just because I have a marketing background and there are people, and a lot of people in the space who have good ideas, but they don't know how to market them, so they just die,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live in a world where, think of McDonald's, never been the best hamburger joint in the world, but it makes the most money because they're the best at marketing. $26 billion. Everybody knows In-N-Out or Fatburger or other places have better burgers, but you gotta have good marketing too. And when I look at how ICOs are marketing, it's not just a white paper, it's a lot more. You need a lot more to it. You gotta understand psychology. So I'll be talking about some of the cognitive biases of the brain, how you reach people and break through their thick skulls.
I like it. Well, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
No, thank
Ty,
you, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
we'll see you in April.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.